Good evening, Blues. Stephen here, back with another video. Manchester City, of course, are facing a future without Kevin De Bruyne, which is quite a painful thing to say out loud. And we're in a situation now where we're looking at potential replacements for Kevin De Bruyne. Yeah, I know it sounds weird to say. It's wrong to say. You can't replace Kevin De Bruyne, but he is a squad number. He is a man that needs to be replaced in the very literal sense. You can't replace that quality. Of course you can't, but you do need to get the squad numbers back. So De Bruyne leaving, are City going to find a replacement, and who is it going to be? The rumours have already started to come out about potential signings and who City could target after the Belgian wizard, the Belgian king. And there's some interesting names there. Of course, it will heat up an awful lot. The rumours suggested today that, not the rumours, just it's confirmed now for the Manchester Evening News. Simon Bukowski confirmed that Hugo Viana, our new director of football, has started life at Manchester City now. So they're getting going on building in a post-KDB world as the rebuild begins. So it's going to start ramping up. We'll see names linked as City's footballing team start to inquire about certain players and all that kind of stuff. And I don't think it's a coincidence that some names have already come out, because I wouldn't be surprised if agents are being tapped up, or tapped up's probably the wrong word, spoken to. They are being tapped up, let's be honest. They all do it. Every club in the world does it. They'll be spoken to about their players. And I think largely we're going to see a lot of rumours surface over the next month or so, because big level signings take an awful long time to do, because they take a lot of money, a lot of convincing, and a lot of planning as moving parts start to shift and all that kind of stuff. So I think we've seen the first bit of that today. It's also worth the caveat at the start. You can't replace Kevin De Bruyne. There is no one in world football, no one around right now that comes even close to peak Kevin De Bruyne. I truly believe that. There's not a single player that ticks every Kevin De Bruyne-shaped box, because he's one of one. We're talking about, a guy who is going down, in my opinion, alongside Zidane and Xavi and Iniesta. No one's looking for a new Zidane right now. No one's looking for a new Xavi. It just doesn't happen very often, because they are that rare. And I think De Bruyne, in my opinion, is up there with the very best of all time. So you cannot replace De Bruyne. A freakishly talented player. I would argue that he's more unique in terms of his skill set than most tens I've ever seen. Probably ever, full stop. It's not just the fact that he can strike a ball wonderfully with his right foot. He can strike a ball wonderfully with his left foot. He can play the biggest variety of passes that I've ever seen from a player, full stop. I truly believe that. I've never seen a guy that technically brilliant. I remember that headed through ball once as well. Just wonderful vision, wonderful incisiveness, a powerhouse of a runner, aggressive, strong, freakishly talented. Look, I think he's one of one. I think he's a remarkable player. The only thing you're going to do is find people who can tick some of those boxes, because there's no other young KDB out there. If there is, I haven't seen them yet. So unless you guys have noticed the guy, I don't think there is. You're going to get, as AJ said in the chat, we can get a player with 70% of KDB's quality is probably the best we're going to get. And I truly believe that, because De Bruyne isn't just his passing. He's his physicality, he's his work rate, he's his no-nonsense approach, his directness, his vision, his use of the ball, his whipping with a cross, his perfectly flighted ball. He's everything, man. He's just, his wonder goals, his big moments, his ability to put his entire team on his shoulders and never disappear. Remarkable. It's just too much. He's more than just one attribute. Anyway, the rumours have started today, and it's come from David Ornstein. Now, David Ornstein, of course, an incredibly connected man. Ornstein, of course, of The Athletic, said Morgan, Gibbs-White and Florian Wirtz are among multiple options that City will consider to replace De Bruyne this summer. Multiple options. City weren't prioritising transfer targets until director Viana fully positioned, so can ramp up now. I'll go to the article. I'll read it for you. Nottingham Forest midfielder Morgan Gibbs-White and Bayer Leverkusen's Florian Wirtz are among the options Manchester City will consider to replace captain De Bruyne this summer. City playmaker De Bruyne announced last Friday that he's to depart City when the season ends after 10 years at the Etihad Stadium. Internal and external solutions are set to be explored as City go about filling the 33-year-old Belgium's international's void, with multiple candidates including Gibbs-White and Wirtz expected to feature in the club's deliberations. City do not intend to prioritise transfer targets until the new director of football, Viana, gets fully underway in his role. He's replacing Chicky Briggenstein and officially started this week, the pair working together during a transition period. The Portuguese was seen at Old Trafford. Anyway, it's still to be decided how they're going to do it. Gibbs-White has enjoyed an impressive campaign, registering 5 goals and 9 assists in 27 Premier League appearances for his challenge for Champions League place. He's contracted until 2027, 25 years old. First call-up, of course, to England in August. Wirtz, meanwhile, become one of Europe's most coveted men. He won Bundesliga Player of the Season as Leverkusen went undefeated domestically. He made his debut as a 17-year-old. He's made 191 appearances, 56 goals and 63 assists. 29 caps for Germany. He's going to be an awful lot of money. 2027 as well is when his contract goes. So they're very, they're very sought after players. They're huge names, and I think there's some validity in this. I think City will be paying attention to Morgan Gibbs-White, and I think Florian Wirtz is a very obvious one. Where your mileage lands on this is it's up to you to what you think, but I have my strong opinions. I'll go immediately and say I think both players are very good. I just don't think they answer the same question or the same problems. Weirdly, I think the best solution of Morgan Gibbs-White and Wirtz is actually alongside each other. I think Gibbs-White would be a great number 8. I think Wirtz is the creative genius that you need. I'll start about Wirtz immediately. Here's Florian Wirtz's stats. As you can see there, percentile means how he ranks against other top attacking midfielders. As you can see there, shot creating actions, 95th percentile. If you're in the 90th percentile of anything, 90 plus, you're brilliant. Passes attempted, pass completion, progressive passes, successful take-ons, assists. I mean, the guy is elite level stuff. He's an elite level creator of the highest order, as you can see there. The thing about Florian Wirtz as well is that you watch him play. He's not De Bruyne in terms of how he plays, but he has wonderful vision. He's more Esteemed in terms of how he glides past people. Wonderful way to pass. A clinical, great goal scorer as well. Florian Wirtz is, he's an output machine, and he's brilliant. And he's played at a high level now, of course, in Champions League. The main key man for an unbeaten German championship side. Of course, as well, German international. The thing is, there's some rumours that they demand around 150 million euros. What? That's like 120 million quid or something like that. That's going to be the going rate for anyone of Florian Wirtz's calibre. There's some rumours that there are some rumours that he might not necessarily be after Man City himself personally, but that we probably top 5 but not top 1 or 2 for him, and he could fancy moves elsewhere first. That doesn't mean you can't get them, and ultimately I think City would know very early on if a player was interested, because you presume the agent would just return the calls. The only thing I would counter that is, because I saw someone say, look, teams don't waste their time on players that they don't want, that don't want to come. I would say players would be stupid not to keep all the doors open, their options open. That doesn't mean they're going to say yes. It just means they use other teams as leverage, and they keep their cards close to their chest, because why would you turn down a club of Manchester City stature outright? You would never do it outright, because they might be your only option one day for whatever reason. So even if they're number 6 for you, that's the other 5 teams might drop out one day, so you keep them on the list, don't you? So I don't know how it feels. Florian Wirtz would be a cracking player. He's my number 1 target as a creative player. I think the elegance he has, the charisma he has as a footballer too. Yeah, he's a wonderful player. An aggressive dribbler, a unique player, great with either foot, incredible technical ability in tight spaces, which would already be a very useful tool. The caveats are, he's young, he costs an awful lot of money. We don't know if he wants to come. The style of English football is different to the Bundesliga. It's a lot more intense physically, of course. It'd be a lot more tighter. There would be a lot more parked buses and all the usual stuff. It'd be hard. It's one of those things where, as much as he could be great, there could be an element where he's not quite the output machine that we think he is. On to Morgan Gibbs-White. I bought all these graphics for a reason. Here's Gibbs-White. As you can see, it's not quite the same statistically. It's actually a lot less in terms of creativity. Now, the big caveat for this is he's not elite at anything there. His assists are quite high, 85th percentile to be fair to him, which is pretty good. Progressive passes is higher too, but the carries, take-ons, touches, passes received, all that kind of stuff, expected assists, it's all low. It's low. Now, the caveat, of course, is that he plays for Nottingham Forest, and Forest are just not an aggressive side. They are a low possession side. As you can see there, he wins a lot of interceptions and aerials won compared to Wirtz. Well, I'll go over to Wirtz now. As you can see, he's better defensively than Wirtz because he plays for a more defensive side. Now, the caveat, of course, is that Morgan Gibbs-White plays for Nottingham Forest, so you have to consider the fact that he doesn't play in a possession-heavy side. My honest opinions of Morgan Gibbs-White is that I think he's a really good player. I think he's a very smart footballer. I think he's got great ball striking. I think he can play a pass. He's obviously naturally a leader, really hard-working. He captains Forest. He's a big part of why Nottingham Forest probably going to secure Champions League football, and I think he's destined for a top side. I truly believe that. My biggest worry about Florian Wirtz is that I just don't picture him being the main man to take down Real Madrid at the Bernabeu. I can't see that. And there's something about the way he plays just doesn't feel like he could step up to be a De Bruyne replacement. Nor could maybe Wirtz, but there's something about Gibbs-White that strikes me as a very good player. I see Florian Wirtz and I think Jack Grealish level, that is very best. Jack Grealish in the Champions League against, in the treble season was a very good player. Was he world class? I don't think he was. I think he was excellent, but I don't think he's world class. I would think Gibbs-White would be about that level of ability. And he might play that level often, but I still don't think that would be enough. I think he'd be more consistent than Grealish probably, but if he had the very best Grealish often, would that be good enough to be our number 10? I would argue still that's not good enough, because I think we should be aiming for creative geniuses. I look back at the lineage of Manchester City's great attackers: Kevin De Bruyne, David Silva, Ilkay Gundogan, Yaya Toure, genius creative players. Maybe even go out wide, look at people like Riyad Mahrez, and then maybe you talk about Bernardo Silva at his peak as well. Just intricate, tricky, brilliant footballers. Foden at his very best, and I don't know if Gibbs-White can be the guy to fire City into finals in the Champions League and stuff like that. I just don't know if he is. And even away from all that, even away from my opinion on Gibbs-White, I think we have to acknowledge that this would be an insane gamble. I mean, the stats show you there. He does not play in a side that is possession heavy. There is no visible proof that Morgan Gibbs-White can play in a possession heavy side. It's going to be a risk. You have to take a gamble there because we've not seen it in action at any meaningful level. Of course, you could maybe say he's done it, as an academy lad somewhere, but has he done it at a high level? Has he played a team where you can see his quality and see how far he goes? No, he came from Wolves. He didn't play it there. He's had loans at Sheffield United and Swansea, but at no point ever did he, play at a team where he's expected to be the man to shoulder the creative responsibility in a team that is up against 11 defenders every single week. And then you consider the fact that the price would be absurd. We're in a post-Declan Rice, post-Moises Caicedo, post-Jack Grealish transfer market now. They're going to ask for 100 million plus. He's English, he's their club captain, and he'll be a Champions League level side with 2 years left in the contract. They will go, give us 110 million. So we have to break our record transfer fee for a guy that we don't know could play as a creative number 10 for a team of Manchester City's calibre. It'd be a mad risk. I do think he'd be a good number 8 for what it's worth. I think alongside Rodri or someone like that, I think he'd be a really powerful, smart footballer. He would drive us forward in the physical era of football. I mean, I still am pining for a Gundogan type, the next Gundogan as opposed to the next... I look at Morgan Rogers and Gibbs-White. They're very similar players in that way in terms of... Look, Gibbs-White is more refined than Morgan Rogers, I would argue. But they're very much 20-25 level kind of 10s where they're aggressive and physical. But I don't think that wins you 4 in a row. I don't think that gives you the more Liverpool vibes. I agree with that, John, actually. I don't think that's going to be domination level. I don't see why we'd aim for less than that, personally. I could be wrong, but regardless if I'm wrong about his ability or not, the thing that is true is that he is going to be a gamble and an insanely expensive one. We would be putting an awful lot of money on a risk because there's no proof he could play at that level. So that's where I'm at with Morgan Gibbs-White. I think both are very good players. I think Florian Wirtz is a much more safer bet because there is the proof that he could play at level. There is the example of him being a superstar in a creative team and playing at high level. I just don't think Morgan Gibbs-White is a genius number 10. Like, maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh on him, but I think he's a really good player. And if he came in for 60 million quid or something like that as an option when Foden was firing as a number 10 and we already knew he was going to be the number 10 or someone like that, I would be fine as him as a midfielder because I think he'd be quite a smart addition to Rodri, Nico Gonzalez. And look, put it this way, we had peak Rodri and Foden was at his very best and scored 25 goals this season and City were creating chances and whatever, and we had Nico Gonzalez and Morgan Gibbs-White alongside Rodri every now and then, and I'd be fine with that. I'd be a physical, powerful midfield if the wingers were scoring goals. But they're not. So this is what my worry about is, like, he seems to be an additional player, not a solution. You know, someone else that we think, oh, he's a good player in. But the money's insane that we'd have to pay. So you can't, anyone we're going to spend as a number 10, if you're going to spend 100 million, they have to be world-class, elite level potential genius. Can anyone say that Morgan Gibbs-White would be elite level world-class potential genius? I don't know, man. I just don't feel it. It would be... he'd be an awful lot. So I don't know. So asking for my t-shirts from Uniqlo, mate. Just a Uniqlo t-shirt. But yeah, I just don't really see how he would get to that level. He's a good player. I think he might be better than Nunes. I think he might be better than Kovacic, Phillips. But I don't know if he's better than Kovacic. Peak level Kovacic was Champions League multiple. I think that's what he could end up being. A Champions League level squad player. I think he might be a little bit smarter than Kovacic, but you got to bear in mind Kovacic was a Real Madrid, Inter Milan, Man City squad player. Is Morgan Gibbs-White better than that? There is nothing to prove that, you know. That's what I worry about. That's what I worry about. And the money would be insane. Once again, if he came in a lot cheaper, and if there was 1 year left, if we get him for 60 million, I'd be like, fine, absolutely fine. Are we actually linked to Shirky today? I've not seen any link there, because I think Shirky is a cracking player. I really like him. I think he's a creative genius, and I would love to see Manchester City. Yeah, I would love to see Manchester City. I think he's an absolute genius, Shirky. The thing is, the only thing about Shirky is that I wonder how much he'd work in the Premier League with the intense aggression and the pressing and all that kind of stuff, and expects it to work. I think he's a brilliant player. I think he's had an absolute wonderful season, majestically talented. I'd probably actually say he's one of the most talented footballers in the world. Like, I think Shirky is an absolute magician. He has magic in his boots in the way that De Bruyne has magic in his boots, and he'd be an insanely cheap addition and a wonderful... Stephen's lighting's on point. Thank you very much. Yeah, he'd be a wonderful addition to, you know, the creativity across the forward line. I don't know if he works hard enough. He reminds me a little bit of like Nasri at Arsenal at that level, in terms of like creative brilliant, but has he got the commitment? There's some rumours that, you know, he's not always the hardest worker. I don't know if it's a little bit of slander that or whatever, but, you know, no, I would love Shirky at City. I think he's an absolute genius, and we'd have a lot of fun with him. He'd be a crowd favourite. Would he be a Guardiola favourite? I don't know. That's the other thing you got to consider there. Is he going to press, work really hard? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong there. But there's some rumours suggest that he's an alternative to Shirky, and I would very much like him. You know, I would love him, but I don't know he's going to work as hard. I mean, he's as technically gifted as they come. He'd be great. I can't wait to see how it goes for what it's worth. I am very much looking forward to, you know, a future for Manchester City where we start seeing these names come in. I was literally just thinking last night, and I nearly tweeted it, but I forgot to. Like, it's been very quiet in terms of the big names that we're going to be linked to, and I think a large part of that is the transition between Cheeky and Hugo Viana, because normally at this point around April, March, just when we start to see the big links, because big transfers take a long time, and you start to know who's going in. I don't think it's a coincidence in the week that Viana started that the names are starting to come out, because I do ultimately feel that this is when, you know, Viana is going to come in and want to get going. He's going to want to start hunting for potential options and making contacts. Like, he's going to come in. He's not going to come in and go, right, who should we sign? He would have been thinking about this for the past 2 months. He would have been texting Cheeky for the past 2 months. These guys want to make, you know, headway, but I don't think he would have spoken to anyone until he got into the job. And I think the rumours are coming out now because I think he started speaking to people. So I think we're going to see movement on this, and I can't wait to see how it goes, you know. Think the Club World Cup would change the speed at which we push signings? Yeah, I think it's very obvious, based on January, that City want to get things done quickly. Some things are going to drag. It's just the nature of the beast. But I think City will have. I think we'll be getting signings of the Kusanov type, if anyone comes in like that, pretty quickly. The City will get it done. They'll just get in and get it over with. It could have been January that sped it up there. We don't really know on that front. But yeah, I think City will look to go quickly into life after Guardiola, not De Bruyne, sorry, and. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fine. Guys, thanks very much for watching this. I love you all loads. Give me a list in the comments of the players that you think could be a potential De Bruyne replacement. Of course, if you haven't already, go and watch the video I did on potential midfield replacements, because I think City do need that, you know. It would be, yeah. I think these are the videos I did. I did a few videos during the international break, which I think are good, man. Go and give those videos a watch if you want something to do. For now, though, give the video a like, and I'll see you all soon. Bye-bye.